I always thought about harming myself.
I'm shy. I struggled with making friends.
I never thought I could do anything. I have extremely low self esteem.
Lately, I've been eating my pain away. Just throw it back up. I've been struggling to lose weight. Somebody said I don't fit in just because I wear my hair the way I like it.
1 out of 5 American girls suffer from mental health problems. Don't be that girl. Talk to someone.
Those thoughts I had are long gone, for I have a future I need to get to.
In order to get better, I had to do better. I learned how to make friends.
I believe in myself. That's when everyone else did, I set an example.
Instead of me eating everything, I started watching my calories. The weight is falling off. I wanted to change my hair, but I decided it was for me. It's for me.
A PSA from the Curvy Girl Project.
And good morning, and I definitely want to welcome you to Expose Under the Sun, sponsored by the Detroit Native Sun newspaper. Our show is live, and you are watching us from the awesome cities of Detroit, Michigan, under the auspices of the Honorable Mayor Mike Duggan, as well as the phenomenal city of Highland Park, Michigan, under the auspices of the Mayor Glenda McDonald. And if you'd like to call into the show, to speak to my special guest and myself, our call-in numbers are area code 313-868-0342, 313-868-0351, 313-868-4336. And, I just want to say to everyone, that this is a great start for the new year. As long as you have woke up this morning, there's so much potential that you can do. And this is something that we want to make certain of. If there's people that you know that you want to reach out to that you haven't talked to since last year, don't procrastinate. Don't wait. Call them. Let them know that you're thinking about them. Let them know that you love them. And let them know that you're going to hopefully be able to see them very, very soon. This weather has been something else, because this is really like the change in terms of, say, with our show, because of the fact that our show normally comes on at 2:30, but we've moved the time up, so now we're going to be on in the morning time. And I had to kind of catch myself when I was starting, my opening, and instead of saying good afternoon, to say good morning. So again, those of you that are with us, definitely thank you for being, able to make that switch just like we have, as well. So I definitely want to go and give our engineer, Tim Smith, a shout out. Pretty much like keeping us on point, every time when we see him. So I had Patrick was the engineer for the afternoon. Now we've got Tim again, and Tim is who I started out with years ago. So look forward to continuing this opportunity with Tim Smith, our engineer, and everything else. He does so much here at the station. But today, my special guest is a gentleman that probably doesn't need too much introduction. He's written a best-selling book, as you see, called Better Not Broken. You've probably seen him a lot around the metropolitan Detroit areas. You probably will see him probably around the country as this book is taken off, because a lot of people have been getting in contact with him, with his publishing company, to make sure that not only can they get a chance to get copies of his book, but to also get a chance to meet live and in person my special guest, Mr. Marvin Cotton Jr. Mr. Cotton, thank you for coming on Expose Under the Sun today.
Thank you for having me. I'm very honored.
First, let's pretty much like tell, who is Marvin Cotton Jr.?
Well, a lot of people know me because I spent a lot of time in prison for a crime I didn't commit. I served 19 years, 7 months, and 12 days in prison for a first-degree murder that I didn't commit. And I was exonerated about 27 months ago. And since I've been out, I've been putting in work in the community and, when it comes to justice reform, as well as community activism, just to get people engaged in politics. I also ran for state representative this past year. And now I'm a best-selling author, an Amazon best-selling author of my book, Better Not Broken.
And tell a little bit about in terms of say now, so you say you were incarcerated for 19 years.
Yes.
And talk to our viewers and tell about pretty much like during those 19 years, how were you able to keep, your stamina up? How were you able to keep hope up that you were going to be able to walk out and be free? What happened? How did you, find out, or how did the public, or how did the prosecutors or the other persons that had locked you up, how did they find out that you were innocent of the crime that they were saying that you committed?
Great questions. A mother reached out to me that, bought my book. She sent her son is in prison, and she sent him my book as well. And she said that he called home and told her, he told her, let him know he gave me a picture before he went home. And the picture was, I drew a picture of me walking out of prison. Always knew that I would walk out of prison one day. I always knew it. And I gave him the picture as motivation for himself. But I gave it to him way before I walked out the door to let him know that I knew what I was talking about. I knew that what I believed in. So what kept me strong is my faith. My faith in God kept me strong. I wanted to get out and be with my daughter and see my daughter and to establish a legacy that my daughter can be proud of. And I didn't want to die in prison and to be forgotten, to never having to do any good works in this world. So
now, when you were incarcerated, how old was your daughter?
My daughter was 2.
2?
She was 2 years old.
And so then, go ahead and finish. I'm sorry. Finish your saying. I just wanted people to realize, too, that this was a daughter that was only 2 that didn't really know her father.
Right. All she knew was me being incarcerated. So when she grew into a young adult, all she can remember is coming to visit me in prison. Mm-hmm. So getting out and really establishing myself was very important. I want my child to be proud of me. I wanted her to be able to see what it is that I have in me, which is an indication of what she has in her, but even more. So that was very important to me. It kept me driven. It kept me fighting forward, and it kept me in the fight.
So now when you were there, your faith is what kept you pretty much like motivated and kept you going.
Absolutely.
So lead up to the events that did happen in terms of say where they may have looked at and said, this gentleman is innocent of the crime that was.
I have to acknowledge Prosecutor Kim Worthy.
Okay. Wayne County Prosecutor.
Wayne County Prosecutor Kim Worthy. She established what is called the Conviction Integrity Unit. And she put great leadership and Valerie Newman over that as the director over the Conviction Integrity Unit. And what they do is they look at claims of innocence. And, I've maintained my innocence since day one, and I've been fighting since day one. But what they did was they reopened my case, they reinvestigated my case, and they took the lead on getting me out. And, they discovered, according to their memorandum that they press release, 13 different reasons why they were vacating and exonerating me. And those 13 reasons had things to do with police misconduct, where officers or detectives either withheld things or falsified things, which led to my wrongful conviction. So, if it wasn't for the prosecutor office and Kim Worthy, I probably would still be sitting in prison right now today.
So then they had realized the information that had been falsified. And so then how long did this process take when they first started investigating?
Right. Well, my case was one of the ones that took a very long time. It took 2.5 years from the time that they started to the time that they finished. And in that 2.5 years, that's when the gray hairs really start coming. Because when people start believing in you, and you see that things are going in the right way, your days just seem to get longer. But it took 2.5 years, and the reason for that is, and the public should most certainly know about this, they're underfunded. They're underfunded. They don't have the staff that they need in order to handle the caseload that they have. So the Conviction Integrity Unit, the prosecutor office, need more funding. They need better funding, and the only people that can really make that happen is the public holding our officials accountable in order to make sure that money is going where it should go.
So you ran for office. What was your motivation for running for office?
I got out and I seen the conditions that the community was in. I know that what I had just suffered, and I wanted to do something. I wanted to make some type of positive impact or positive change in things. So I found myself in meetings and getting in rooms, which it wasn't hard to do because of the platform in which I walked out of prison on. I'm an innocent man, not too many people closing doors to somebody in my position. So I was able to get into a lot of rooms. But I found myself begging a lot, but not getting anything done when I know that I'm asking for the right thing to be done. So I said, instead of begging on this side of the table, I just walk on the other side of the table and take a seat. And that's what I strive for. Although I was unsuccessful in winning that state representative seat, I think that I was successful in broadening the conversation when it comes to wrongful conviction as well as the criminal justice system. And that's just not my only focal point. I had a lot of initiatives in the community that I wanted to push as well, which I still do. I still do the exact same work I was doing before and during the campaign.
I want to ask you a question, too. Now, when you look at it was something recently that happened with one of our Supreme Court justices where she had a person who had been incarcerated for a crime, and then she hired him to work for her, and then there was a little bit of a backlash because of the fact that she had hired a returning citizen, but she felt like he should be given a second chance. And that's one of the things I know that you do is to advocate for not just for wrongful incarceration, but also for people to get a second chance. Yeah. What's your thoughts in terms of say about, making certain that people do that? And I want to give a shout out to the person that introduced me to you, Mr. Darrell Wood. And so what's your thoughts in terms of say about that, especially with doing the giving a person a second chance?
I think that every human being should have the right to live out their potential. Mm-hmm. If someone has undergone a redemptive process that's really propelling their potential to the forefront, no one should be trying to hold that up. So when Justice Bernstein really criticized Justice Kyra Harris Bolton for making a decision of giving Pete Martell this clerk position, it's like, why put a ceiling on someone's potential? Pete Martell, I just sat down and had lunch with him the other day. Great guy, great attorney. He got out of prison. He went to college. He became a lawyer. And not only did he become a lawyer, he's doing great work. He's one of the names that everyone in this community knows because of the work that he's been doing for all of these years. So he was qualified for that position. Not looking at him as a returning citizen, he was qualified for that position. So when somebody put a ceiling on him and said that he shouldn't be able to advance, you can't sit in a building in which I work in. I'm not even willing for you to have a job beneath me in this building. That's unacceptable. Everyone should be able to live their potential out. If your God-given potential, what God has put into you, is for you to express into the world. And anybody standing in the way of that is wrong. Now, Justice Bernstein have apologized. I know he's been meeting with returning citizens and really making amends for that. And I think that that's important because right now he's looking for a second chance. He's looking for a second chance to those that want to fulfill their second chance. Right. So there's some balance there. And I think that that's important. Maybe he needed to undergo that type of struggle in order to develop the type of mind he need in order to give true justice.
That's a good point. That's a very good point. Now, yesterday, a lot of people celebrated Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday yesterday.
Thank you.
And you went to a site that you had to go to yesterday for all of the celebrations that people may have had celebrating King's birthday, King's legacy. Now, talk about what you did yesterday. I know you went to one of the King celebrations, but talk about the site that you went to yesterday.
Right. Well, yesterday it was important to me. I went to the very spot in which I was arrested. I went to the spot where the handcuffs went on, and where my freedom was taken, because it would be 19 years, 7 months, 12 days later before I would walk out of that type of bondage or that type of prison. But I went there. I went there by myself. I got out and just walked around the area. It's right there on the west side of Detroit, on Plymouth and Mendota. That's where I was arrested at, right there. And it was important just to remind myself of why I do what I do. I never want to forget. I don't run from it. I don't run from the pain of it. I want to remind myself because it keeps me fighting. Just the same way I fought when I was in prison, I make sure I remind myself so I can continue to fight right now. So I went there and I wrote a little something on Facebook about it. And, you know, I think it was a little fiery than the things that I normally put out. People know me for being a very positive and optimistic person, and I am that. But it was just something about that moment that just kind of brought a little something else out of me to where I just needed to express it.
But it was very poignant, you know, what you did write. So that was something that I think registered with myself, as well as I'm sure other people that read that as well. All right, let's talk about your book, Better Not Broken. Where'd the title come from?
You know, it's the spirit in which I live. I believe I came out of prison better and not broken. Don't mean that I'm not hurting. Doesn't mean that I didn't go through pain, but I was able to use the pain in which I was going through in order to promote some positive change in my life. You know, I was a broken young man walking into prison. Was in there for something I didn't do, but I was a broken young man walking into prison. I was underdeveloped. I was not tapping into my potential. I was not fulfilling my purpose. But I was able to use the pain in which I was going through with this wrongful conviction and flip it and really make some positive changes. So I literally walked out of prison a better man, still hurt from the situation, but a better man. So striving to be better is what it means to be better, not broken. It doesn't mean that you're going to achieve or arrive at some better destination. But when you're striving for it, that's what you are. You are what you strive for. Even before you arrive there, you are what you strive for.
So now you took your pain and now you're converting it into your power.
Absolutely. It was my fuel. You know, it was my fuel. I remember nights where I cried in the cell, you know, in the darkness of the cell, out of view of anybody, because you just can't be walking around prison, you know, shedding tears and crying. And I remember the prayers that I would pray to myself, like when I get out of here, I'm going, you know, all of the things I'm doing, I was committing it to myself. And oftentimes I did those things while tears was coming down my face. And that's why I'm so committed to the work I do, because when I promised myself these things, it was at the worst moments. It was at the darkest moments. It was at the moments where I'm looking around this concrete cell and I'm like, I'm here, but I'm not going to be here. So that's how deep it is for me.
So when you first got your freedom, what was one of the first things that you wanted to do when you got free?
I had an ideas of what I thought I wanted to do. I thought I wanted some fried chicken and some macaroni and some asparagus. You know, that's what I wanted. I'm telling people, listen, that's what I want. Cook this for me. And I got out, didn't even have an appetite.
Okay.
Didn't even have an appetite. But one of the first things that I wanted to do, and I did for myself, and it was very important, was to take a bath. You know, there's no bathtubs in prison. There's all showers, public showers. So I just wanted to take a bath. I just wanted to sit in some water and soak. And that's what I did.
So you want to have a little bit of reflection time, but in private.
No, I wanted a bath. I did a lot. I had did 20 years of reflection. I just wanted a bath.
So now you've written your book. Your book now is a bestseller, and you're getting an opportunity to get out and talk to people about your optimism, the opportunities, and how you overcame.
Absolutely.
What happened, to you during those 19 years that you were away. So the sky's the limit. So now, to somebody else that may be incarcerated right now, that may be dealing with the hopelessness
Right.
of not being able to get out, what advice would you give to somebody who might be going through pretty much like what you're going through, that know that they're innocent? All these years that they may have been incarcerated, they know they're innocent. They know they didn't, commit the crime that they may be locked up for. Give some encouragement to them.
Number one, consistency. You have to constantly work to get out of prison. If you're innocent, you're not supposed to be there. You have to constantly work. You have to constantly do your research and be working on your case. Number two, you can't let people forget about you. You cannot let people forget about you in there. Whatever peace you need to make with your family, your friends, I'm a little emotional today, but whatever peace you need to make with your family, your friends, in order to bridge those gaps, because you need help. When you're in prison, you don't have any hands or any feet. You can't do anything yourself as it relates to research out here or investigative work out here. So you need to make peace. So the different things that I talk about in my book on how I was able to make peace with myself and start the process of becoming better allowed me to build relationships outside of prison more effectively because I was dealing with myself. And you can get a lot done when you have some balance within yourself. So to anybody that's in prison or anybody that have someone that's in prison, I think you should most definitely order my book and send it to them because I think it can help them with whatever they got going on inside so they can be more effective with their relationships. I think that's like one of the biggest things on getting out of prison, but also write these different organizations that focus on innocence, the Michigan Innocence Clinic, Cooley Law School, the Conviction Integrity Unit. You have to reach out to these organizations. The very nature of these organizations is to deal and to search for innocent people. So you have to reach out. I've met guys that I believe to be innocent, but they haven't taken any of those steps. So they're not in the best light or the best position to be successful because of it. But yeah, you have to be consistent. You have to build relationships, and you have to reach out. You cannot let the world forget about you because it will.
Now, in the short time that we've got left, Marvin, if somebody wants to get a copy of Better Not Broken, how would they go about getting a copy of your book?
Well, you can order it at marvincottonjrspeaks.com, and I'll send you an autographed copy, or you can order it from Amazon. It's a bestseller on Amazon right now, so it's very easy to find, or you can order it on Barnes & Noble. Those are the three ways at this time that you can get the book, but definitely get it. Very inexpensive. And I think that no matter whether you're in prison or not, it's great for you because we all living in our prisons. We all got something we're trying to escape. And why not escape it doing the right thing opposed to, trying to escape it doing something else.
So let me ask you an interesting question. So if your book was ever made into a movie, who would you want to play you in the movie?
I don't know. Denzel might have aged out. I think he might have aged out. I don't know. A lot of people say that I favor the game. I don't have all the tattoos, so you might have to do some cover up with that.
Okay.
But a lot of people say that. I don't know. I would like to play myself. I think I can get away with a young Marvin. I like to think so. I don't know how successful I'd be with that, but I would love to see, a movie depicting some of the things that I've been through, as long as people can learn and it can be helpful.
So now, what's next for Marvin Cotton Jr.?
Well, right now I'm trying to make sure that this book stays successful. I want to continue to help people. I sit on the board of a few different nonprofits, and I work for Nation Outside, which is the fifth nonprofit that I'm involved in. I do a lot of work in the returning citizens community, just trying to make sure that people's second chances is fulfilled with the potential that they have. So anywhere you can find people in need, that's usually where I'm at.
And you've reached out to a lot of people in terms of, say, because I know when we were talking before, I know you were doing some things with the Macomb County prosecutor, Pete Lucido.
Right.
And the thing is just like here, you got a lot of people in the professional world that have reached out to you because they believe in what you went through, and they're very much trying to keep you uplifted. But then at the same time, too, you're uplifting other people as well. Because I still remember when I first met you, you know, and, you know, that was a day that I'll always remember, you know, when I went up there to the Capitol to speak on the Capitol steps one day. And Daryl Wood had said, Darwin, there is somebody that I want you to meet.
Yeah, Daryl Woods, that's my big brother right there.
And you know, and it was so interesting because when he said that to me, and I'm like, oh, okay. And then when I saw you and your publicist, Brandy Mitchell, and, you know, when I saw you, and I was like, okay, well, number one, it's a sharp dressed man, number one. I was thinking about it in terms of say, because you won a few awards, too, for being a sharp dressed black man, too, haven't you?
Yeah, on the Avenue of Fashion at Times Square, you know, they did 100 men in suits. Mm-hmm. And I came in first place. That was in 2021. That's actually where I had my book signing at.
Okay.
So it came full circle.
Oh, great. Well, you know, we have been fortunate, this time went by so fast, we've been fortunate to have Marvin Cotton Jr., who wrote the best-selling book, Better Not Broken. Again, you've been watching Expose Under the Sun, sponsored by the Detroit Native Sun newspaper. I'm your host, Darwin Griffin. And if you'd like to get a copy of the Native Sun newspaper, you can contact Ms. Valerie Lockhart at area code 313-457-5944. Again, 313-457-5944. Have a great rest of this morning. Peace.
Here at the Full and Fabulous Curvy Girl Project, we don't just focus on health, beauty, and self-esteem. We also offer an amazing summer program for young ladies ages 12 to 18. For more information, visit our website at fullandfabulous.org. See you soon.